Monday morning, and Bentley Nettles, the County Commissioner of Precinct 1, joins us. Thanks for being here this morning, Commissioner.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you've been on the job, let's see, how long now?
I think this is my 10th week.
Okay, 10 weeks. So we were discussing off the air, and of course the whole situation of the Commissioner's Court is something that a lot of people don't necessarily understand. I think Bill Oliver does a good job of getting some of the news out there that comes from the court, but it appears that you guys are going to get out there now, guys and gal, are going to get out there and try to talk to your constituency. Tell us about that.
I think it's really important to have community engagement. Judge Kenny Elliott and the Constable Jeff Reeves and I decided that we wanted to have a forum by which we could talk to our residents of Precinct 1. And so we're going to try this. First one will be Wednesday from 5 to 8 at JP1 there off of William B. Fitch.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is to talk about some county initiatives. We're going to have Sheriff Wayne Dickey there talking about some of his programs that he's rolling out. Also going to have Jason Ware, our emergency management coordinator, and just have the opportunity for people to come and ask us questions in a less formal environment so that we can figure out what's important.
Well, and because people don't necessarily understand, I mean, I'm sure you probably get calls that, hey, somebody didn't pick my trash up today. Something really has nothing to do with what a county commissioner does. And so being able to know the different situations and your responsibilities has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely. You know, we get all kinds of calls. And matter of fact, I set up on my website a way for people to email me or give me their issues so that it comes in and I can maybe try to get the right county person to answer their questions, because there's obviously a whole lot about the county that I still don't know yet.
Sure. Well, the other thing that I think people are starting to also recognize is there are more and more places where the cities and the county now have to join forces to do things. They've done things financially before, but if their roads or connections have to happen that are in the extraterritorial jurisdiction, then that gets into the county, and there are different guidelines there.
Absolutely. And one of the challenges I see going forward for the county is the growth projections that we will have 75,000 more people outside the city limits. Now, how do we deliver services to those folks? Because that's the responsibility of the county government, in part. So,
I know that the meeting that the court had to do with, well, a Doge type situation. That clearly is a word that resonates with a lot of people. They understand what it is. And I spoke to the judge about that last week. And a Doge type deal where we're doing budget cutting is a difficult thing to do in a body like the county. Your thoughts?
Well, and my thought is the five of us are the Doge. I mean, we are the budgetary authority for the county. But we have a lot of smart, talented people in this community. We can certainly use them to come together and try to identify, I call it Brazos County 2050. How do we deliver services for the county 15 years from now? Because I believe the expectation is going to be very different. We need to be online. We need to be servicing people online if possible. And then creating, I hate to steal the term, but world-class excellence for our county services.
Bentley Nettles joining us. He's County Commissioner for Precinct 1. One of the other things that's interesting is because this is such a foreign situation to the regular citizen, how big a committee could you actually have that, and what would you think would be an ideal number to have in that committee to be efficient?
Well, so the judge tapped me to do the Veterans Treatment Court, and we had 10 or 12 people in there, and it was like herding cats. I think smaller is better. If you could get 5, they can obviously get advisory from anybody in the county, but 5 people is probably the right number in order to be effective. I mean, if we're going to have people volunteering their time and talents, we certainly want them to be able to come to the county with some strong recommendations for us to consider. It still has to be voted on by the county commissioners, because one of the things that become obvious to me watching the county commissioners court, we approve every time the county buys a paperclip. Everything comes before the county commissioners court.
And that's spending a lot of time on some things that probably could be handled in a different way. Is that what we're saying here?
Well, but it's statutorily required, so we don't have a choice. It's really interesting to me. Learning about the county has been a bit of a challenge, but I do think there's some opportunities to improve.
Why do you think it's designed that way, as far as you're concerned, by the legislature?
You know, I really don't know. I suspect the legislature wants to. Obviously, we're a representative of the first representative of the state, so they want to tell us what to do, and I get that. You're always, because your higher headquarters doesn't know what they're doing. Only you do, because you're seeing on the ground what's happening. So I appreciate that, but I do think they really need to think about, when they ask us to do things, how much it costs. And are they going to provide the funding, or do we have to go get it from our constituents?
So speak to me about this. Folks may not know, you're a retired brigadier general, so you pretty much would say something and that's the way it would be. Likewise, you ran the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. Same thing. I set a policy. We put that in place. That's a little bit different here. So talk about that.
Well, I think that's a simplification of both of those command control relationships I had, because obviously, in order to get anything done, you have to have voluntary buy-in. There's only so much people will do, and you don't want to be in a position where you have to constantly watch them to do what you want them to do. So getting people buy-in in that direction is very important, and nothing different in this. You have influence, but at the end of the day, I'm one of 5 votes, right? So, but we've had some friction with me and the staff, and they're learning and I'm learning. And the ideal is I need the information to make the decisions. I haven't been there 4 years. So if you're going to bring something to the Commissioner's Court for me to vote on, you better provide me the information, or I'm not voting on it or not voting favorably for it.
So will we see more workshop sessions in this court? Because workshop has really, on the county level, not been something that we've seen very often.
I know the judge seems to be moving in that direction. I think that's a positive thing, because the Texas Open Meetings Act, TOMA, requires us to have an open forum anytime we try to do government business, which is appropriate. I support that. But it really sometimes very frustrating, because there can be 3 of us suddenly coming together in the hallway, and staff's going, wait, you can't have 3 of you there, and we're just having coffee and asking them how their day was. So it's a little frustrating at times.
Sure. One of the phrases that I saw you quoted in the newspaper, key performance indicators. That's what you're looking for. Define for us, in your view, what is a key performance indicator? So
the very first key performance indicator would be, how are your customers like the service you're providing, or your constituents, the people you're serving? If you don't have a mechanism providing that kind of feedback, how do you know how you're doing? And that's one of the challenges I see as I have started my evaluation of the different departments. There are 50 departments, almost 25 of them are elected officials, and all have been very gracious and met with me. And I understand they have their own election political issues, but I just want to know, if you're going to come to the county court and ask for money, where's your indicators that you're doing a good job in order for us to give you more money or less money? And that's a big challenge. And I think that's a cultural shift that maybe we need to make at the county. Some of the departments, I believe, are moving in that direction, but we need all of them. Just the reason we're having this town hall. I want to hear from the residents of Precinct 1 what's important to them. Because if I don't know, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to represent them, but I don't want to be guessing at what's important to them. I know what's important to me, and that's Greens Prairie Road in front of Woodlake, that we don't seem to be able to get fixed. But we're working on some of those challenges.
Anything else this morning?
I hope everybody comes out. It's going to be a great opportunity to talk to your county officials. And if this one goes well, hopefully we'll try to do it again a little bit later in the summer.
Okay, and remind us again when and where.
It's going to be this Wednesday, 5 to 8, at Justice Precinct 1 off of William B. Fitz.
Okay, good. Bentley Nettles, he's the County Commissioner of Precinct 1. Thanks for the time this morning.
Thank you.